It's time for Let's Get Real with your host from Bob Richards and Associates, Bob Richards.
Mr. Bob, how are you?
You know, in our custom studio here, Michael, in beautiful St. George, Utah, with Sean Donovan at the helm. How could you not have a great day?
I know, it is a great day. Hey, Sean, how you doing today? Say hi to everybody. Come on, say.
Hi.
Man, a few words.
We couldn't do it without him.
No, absolutely not.
We just been sitting here staring. You're like, well, what do we do now? I guess we should talk to each other.
Exactly. Okay, here we are. We got headphones on. We're ready to roll.
Let's do it. So, Bob, you know, in our last show, we talked a little bit about going into 2025. There's all kinds of things happening, and we prognosticate that they're going to happen, and we hope they're going to happen, and we're riding the tide. That's what we're doing. That tide's going to raise all boats. So now that we're slipping and sliding into 2025, what are some tips and tidbits that you have to share with our audience today? Some tips to make their life easier, perhaps not only about buying and selling a home, but just existing in your home, things that we can do to make our lives easier in our homes.
Thanks, Michael. Again, folks, let's get real about things that really do apply and they do matter with you and your home, future homes, future investments, etc. I just wanted to share just a few things that come to mind that are important for me to share with you that you would want to implement. Some, maybe all, totally up to you. But I didn't want this podcast to come and go without being able to share a few things with you. So let's talk about water. We have not had very many storms this last number of months, and who knows what January or February will bring. But overall, we are very, very short on water supplies. So folks, here's a great time to start to conserve water. When you're brushing your teeth, turn the water off while you're brushing. I mean, just simple like that will save a quart here, or half a gallon, that just continues to build up and keeps our water from going to waste. Check your sprinklers. If you're not using them right now, you've got them winterized, great. If you happen to keep them on during the winter months, tone it down to a minute per station. The grass is dormant. You can't make it green when it's dormant. So allow that change to happen by Mother Nature rather than a large amount of water. So
this might be slightly off topic, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
As it pertains to water conversation, because, you know, we kind of live in the desert here.
Yeah, we are.
In St. George, there's a lot of desert, beautiful Red Rock Mountains, but there's a lot of deserty things. But I've had some people in my neighborhood tell me that due to perhaps an unpreponderance, that's not even a real word, I'm going to go with it anyway.
Okay.
An unpreponderance of water in our area.
Yeah.
There are some folks that are having their home insurance raised because now some bureaucrat guy goes, hey, people aren't conserving their water. Now this area could be a fire hazard, so we're going to raise everybody's insurance rate. What's going on here?
It's honestly, that's the truth. Again, Michael, let's get real with the way this does, or what this does to the consumer. You're absolutely right. Your premium goes up, and because your premium goes up, then they're saying, well, it justifies that we raise the water rates. And then there will be other things that are raised. There will be raised for maybe property taxes, that more of that is earmarked towards fire safety and fire control with our fire department, who is absolutely wonderful. Respect all of those gals and guys that are firefighters here in our area and anywhere throughout the country. But here locally, you start to kind of create a mushroom from maybe a Pandora's box that should just be left alone and left closed.
Yeah, so I think you're right about the whole water conservation and making sure we turn off our sprinklers and water lines, because all of that, I think, it kind of builds up to something to where now we're in a situation where we got guys saying, oh, well, you guys aren't conserving your water, so now we're in a fire zone. We're going to raise everybody's rates. So just be cool, guys, and make sure you don't. If you're watering your lawn, turn off the hose before you go in the house.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh my gosh, besides drink places and cookie places, we've got loads of car washes. Don't wash your car in the driveway. Go down where they can reclaim the water and filter it and use it again. Don't waste it with the hose running, like you say, down the driveway while you're getting the soap on and then ready to rinse.
Yeah, or you know what's going to happen is when I moved from South Orange County, we weren't even allowed to wash our cars in the driveway.
Is that right?
We would get fined.
Interesting.
So we don't want to see something like that going on up here in our area. So just be cool. Don't wash your car in the driveway, or turn off the hose in between the wash and rinse, or go down to one of the local car washes and wash your car down there. And,
Absolutely.
And just kind of
think smart.
think smart.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. So what else do we got in our home that we really need to take caution with? I've got these batteries in my smoke detector that I'm about ready to strangle.
Yeah, they certainly chirp. And the
gosh.
reason why they chirp is because they need to be changed. Thank goodness that they've got a system within the smoke detector that tells you and says, hey, if you have a fire, I may not go off and protect you. So folks, change the batteries. I do it every spring forward and fall back, and it's just natural and normal. If your smoke detectors are yellow, replace them. They're toast. They're gone. They're old. Get rid of them. Get something that's white. Yellows are ones to just throw them away.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. That's what you need to do. Secondly is the number 2 causes of house fires are from the bathroom vents. You turn on a little vent fan in the bathroom. Yeah. So the stuff that gets clogged up in there, some lint and other debris and what have you, that causes, as it gets up into that motor, more fires being started than anywhere else and for any other reason in the home.
Wow.
Surprising.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's probably about 12, 14 inches by 12, 14 inches. It's not that big, but can break your house down.
So are you saying that one of the solutions to minimize the amount of lint that gets stuck in those is to simply not wear clothes in the house?
Oh.
Is that what we should do?
You know what? I guess some people might go that extreme. I would prefer not, personally.
That's probably a good idea. You know what else I've seen that I think is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this could contribute to like a house fire, and it could also raise the amount of electricity used for air conditioning heating, is that vent behind the washer and the dryer with mounds of God knows what is in there.
Yeah, I've got a few socks, I'm sure, in there, and a lot of other lint. Folks, there's a couple of ideas. Thanks, Michael. Number one is clean out behind your washer and dryer. There's a lot of dust and a lot of lint and a lot of stuff. There might be a few pennies underneath there. It might have Johnny's toy. Might have Susie's lollipop. Whatever. Clear all that out and just clean it up. But then get in and get your dryer vent cleaned. Now, some people will just put a vacuum up there and just kind of pull it around or move it up and down as far as they can to get as much lint out that they can. I would recommend maybe considering hiring somebody so that they can put a full canister over that vent and then suck all of that air out, and with that air comes the lint. So that way you've got a freed up dryer vent line. It allows your dryer to work more properly, more efficiently. It doesn't have to work as hard to dry the clothes. It's amazing what that difference that makes. And Michael, that's number 5 reason why a house burns down is because the lint that has been in and behind the dryer that causes that to possibly spark.
You know, Bob, did you know there's a practical use for the lint in the dryer and all that stuff?
This is interesting.
Would you like me to share that with you? So I'm going to share this with you because my wife, who has become kind of I don't want to say a survivalist.
Yeah.
But she's always looking for ways to increase security, and she's a planner. So she saves all of the lint that comes out of the dryer.
Wow.
She's like a lint harvester.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, we have the cleanest vent you've ever seen. She's become a lint harvester, and she saves all of this lint in a bag. And I go, what the heck are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm just letting you know that if there was ever an emergency or a disaster, we can use this lint to start a survival fire, so we would at least have heat. So, guys, I want you to know that
Wow.
if you're a survivalist,
Yeah.
I mean, she's looking at everything. So she saves the lint, puts it in a special bag, because if there's ever a power outage or, the world goes to heck in a handbasket,
You got lint.
we're going to be able to start a fire because we have lint to start the fire. A free tip for you guys.
There you go. There you go. Yes, this shameless plug has been brought to you by Michael Mollenauer's wife and lint.com.
I don't think we're going to let her watch this one.
No, I don't think so either.
The other thing that Linda likes to do is she loves to go to the local nursery and find things to plant.
Mm-hmm.
What should we do? Is this a good time of year to do that?
My thumbs are definitely not green, and they never have, and I doubt that they ever will. But go to a nursery, go to your favorite nursery, and talk to the individuals there that are overseeing that have experience with flowers and with bulbs and with vegetables and with herbs and when to plant those and where and how much sun and how far down in depth. If you want to have really a beautiful yard as spring comes about and have these daffodils pulling up and you've got some roses coming off the bushes and other things, it's gorgeous. It absolutely makes you want to say, you know what, I am excited to go home and see my beautiful yard. Or you pull in the driveway and you're like, you know what, this is pretty nice around here. I get to own this house. And it provides just a little bit more life and light that are doldrums of January, if you will, that are here. There's certainly not anywhere near northern Utah with there's inversions and colds and snow. So give us a call.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's oftentimes a great start to see and even to show your family or share with your family. This is what happens when we do this. Look at what's going to look like down the road and see that growth process take place.
Yeah. The other thing that I think that we wanted to share, I think pertains to two things. Not only the enjoyment of life living in your home, but for those of you who are thinking about listing and selling your home, it's always wise to keep prepared. And I know that keeping the home organized, sometimes it's a chore, but if you're looking at listing and selling your home, you've got to get that home organized before you can ever call Bob to get over there and have him bring a prospective buyer to check the thing out. I think, what the lint harvester does in my house. That home is always organized. She's prepared. Well, if we ever want to sell, this thing is ready to go.
Boy, oh boy.
You don't have to wait till the last minute and stuff. What do you think about organizing somebody's home?
Well, I know the lint bag will not increase the value of the
No, it will
house
not.
when it goes to sell. Sorry about that, Linda. There's definitely the necessity in today's world where, again, you're outside of the walls of your home and there's just chaos and going-ons and calls and this other thing that's impeding your enjoyment of peace and relaxation and decompression after a hard day's work. And even with your kids, when you come home to them, they've got a little chaos going on. But when you have a controlled environment, if you will, that's not so, Gestapoville, but just where you've got things under control, where you know things are at, they know what shelf they're in, they know what closet they're in, and live that way. As you teach your kids how to do that, as they get older, then they'll want to have their rooms and their homes look exactly the same. They'll want it to look good and be presentable because they felt good when they saw, as they were growing up, the home that they lived in, and now want the same thing for the home that they now own or even rent. So that's a very good comment, Michael. And then also when we go to sell a house, we do a lot of staging. So the lint bag goes in the garage, somewhere out of sight. Don't mean to beat a dead horse. We've probably done that.
It's hysterical.
But anything that makes it the seller's home, we get rid of. Because the buyer doesn't want to buy the seller's home. The buyer wants to buy their home. And so they're looking for things that they would want in the home, what they need in the home, features that they're looking for, demanding or requiring in that home. And if they see too much of you, guess what? They walk out the door with their agent and say, you know what? That just didn't feel right. We just didn't feel comfortable in the home. We just didn't feel like that we could relax in that home or really couldn't see ourselves pictured living there. Well, guess what? Because they saw the seller's home. They didn't see their home. So there's a variety of other things that I'd be glad to talk to people about in person, do a walkthrough of your home, no obligation, and just simply say, here's some things that you absolutely must do. Here's a couple of areas, if you get around to it, that you could do. And there's some other things that you just say, you know what, leave it alone. It's not going to make the difference between a sale or no sale. But again, you need somebody with that eye and that ability, and not just somebody off the street that says, yeah, take down a couple photos. That's good enough.
You know, that segues nicely, Bob.
Good.
Into our next segment, which has to do with like home improvement.
Oh, yeah.
And but what you said there, I'm pausing because I'm trying to not to laugh while I say it. But people do these like home improvements and they go, oh my gosh, my house, it's so beautiful. This is amazing. I just love it. And then you bring the prospective buyer in there and they've painted the living room their college football team colors.
Yeah.
It's like, so they've made it all about them. And you know, you get somebody there who is not a fan of your football team. They go, we're done and we're just out. So there's certain home improvements that you should make, certain ones that you should probably not make.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have made an improvement like that, like painting the living room your football team colors, I would de-improve that immediately. But I know that there are some home improvements that homeowners can do that actually add value to the home. What are some of those home improvements that you'd recommend?
Thanks. First of all, I've been in a jazz room where it's just that purple. Did I say that right?
Purple.
49ers room, red everywhere with gold, and Michigan with blue and yellow. And is it distracting? Oh my gosh, yes. And even with one wall, we had one home over in Hurricane that there was kind of an burnt orange type of a wall, one wall in one bedroom that was such a hang up for the buyer that was so difficult for them to get over the hump of making an offer. We had to repaint the wall before we even got the offer.
Yeah.
And then once we did, guess what? We got the offer, we closed the deal. So it's amazing what one wall can do between a sale and no sale. And yes, you absolutely want to tackle that beforehand. I didn't think the burnt orange wall of maybe about 11 by 11 was going to be that big of a deal. Guess what? It was. And so do that up front before you consider putting it on the market, because those home improvements, especially if you do them and they become a DIY, then you say, oh, but Bob, we want this for it because I put in my blood and sweat and tears, and I gave up overtime at my regular work, and I stayed up until 2 a.m. Great, love you, but that's not going to make the difference on your house. And folks, be very careful on DIYs. If you're getting into plumbing, if you're getting into electrical, if you're getting to HVAC and other things of that nature, do not do it by yourself. Hire a licensed contractor that is licensed for those particular trades and have them do it. Again, that has potential fire problems with your electrical. It has potential water problems that could absolutely ruin your flooring in part of your home, and a basement if you have one.
Yeah.
Get somebody that's licensed to do these things. Now, again, before doing the improvement, have a goal. Maybe you and your spouse and the kids are saying, you know what, for this year, folks, family, we want to accomplish this. We want to save enough money that we can do this by school time next fall, or by the time dad gets his promotion or raise, or after mom has her baby. Something that is in writing that you have as a team goal as a family that you want to reach. It's a great goal to have because you're all working together to achieve that goal. It's not just dad working extra hours to afford money. Everybody's participative in that goal. It's funny what that does, but it's such a unifying opportunity for the family with each other.
So I know that there are some home improvements that people can make that actually do increase the value of their home.
Yeah.
There are some that they can do that actually will not increase the value of their home, but to help increase the value of their home and make sure I'm on the right path here, Mr. Bob. So I know that if you're going to upgrade your kitchen, that is a good home improvement. And the same with the bathroom. Upgrade your bathroom. Perhaps adding a room addition is a good one. One that is not good is adding a swimming pool.
Right.
That will not increase the value of your home.
By half the cost, maybe. So you cost $100,000, you may get $40,000 to $50,000 back in value.
Yeah. So I think it's wise to, number one, budget for home improvements. But when you're doing home improvements, do ones that will actually increase the value of your home as well as make it more livable and enjoyable.
Yeah.
But that way, when you get ready to sell and they get ready to call Mr. Bob to list their home, it's like you walk in and they go, oh, nice room addition. Oh, the kitchen's fabulous. And it automatically helps to increase the sales value.
It does.
marketability of the home.
Absolutely, Michael. And again, let's get real with what you've just said. You're 100% correct. Kitchen and master bathroom are always 1 and 2 that you ever want to improve or make better for the resale of a house. Those are your 2 places to spend money. Like you say, a room addition is also nice. Even if you epoxy the garage floor, okay, that's a couple $3,000. It just looks better. It just makes that garage pop. Now that I don't live in my, well, I kind of do with my cars, but I really don't live much in my garage. But again, just those subtle things that people say, wow, they've done a lot here. And you're like, well, it costs us only a few $1,000s, but it's $20,000, $15,000, maybe more in return on a higher price. So we're not here in this podcast just to say spend money. We're trying to give you as consumers the opportunity to look for things and you're shopping for a purchase. And as a seller, to say, here's how I can make my home more sellable at the least amount of cost, but the biggest bang for the buck in return.
Great. Bob, you have just been a wealth of knowledge today.
Thank you.
It's been a joy and a pleasure. Before we go, why don't you tell us how people can get a hold of you if they have questions?
Thanks, Michael. So I work for Berkshire Hathaway, Utah Properties here in downtown St. George. We're just over by the Pizza Factory and Painted Pony Restaurant. They're on the corner of Main Street and the Boulevard. Simple, Simon. Pretty easy to find us. Been there for a number of years. Best way to contact me, honestly, is via text these days. 435-703-8824, which basically 435-703 Utah. You can certainly call me at that number as well. Email's great. And then my website is buyutah.com. If you want to know anything about Southern Utah, not only about listings, but about communities, about history, about events, past and future, buyutah.com has all of the answers to your questions on that particular site. So email, text, Buy Utah, stop on by the office. Glad to assist you again at Berkshire Hathaway, Bob Richards and Associates.
And also don't forget that Bob's podcasts, Let's Get Real, are available on YouTube. So like this one's going to be there, and he's got an archive of all the other past podcasts. Also, when you're driving around, guys, and you want to listen to a podcast, all of Bob's podcasts are available. The audio version on Spotify and Google and Apple and all of the major podcast channels. So you can listen to Bob while you're driving around, and you can watch him on YouTube, and be sure and give him a call when it's time to list and sell or buy a new home. Bob, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Michael.
See you again soon.
You got it.
Take care.
This has been Let's Get Real with Bob Richards from Bob Richards and Associates. For more information, buyutah.com. We invite you to return again for another edition of Let's Get Real with Bob Richards from Bob Richards and Associates.